Hello and welcome. Well, one of the things I like to do is get creative, and I mentioned a few weeks ago that I wanted to do a few projects, and one of them is my headboard. We've had the same headboard, it's probably about 25 years old, and I had it made and by the White Company. I sent them the fabric, which was from Marks and Spencer's, and had it made. Well, it's lasted incredibly well. However, there is one problem. I started to take it apart, but there's one problem I'll show you, which might be difficult with the chandelier here. But there's a massive stain, if I just lift that up, which you can possibly see over here on the right hand side, which is from my husband's head. Now, I've decorated the bedroom fairly recently, and the headboard, although it blends in beautifully, the stain doesn't come out. I can't get it out. So I have bought some fabric, and I'm going to recover the headboard. I'm going to have to do it in the garage because we have a compressor in there, and I decided, because I've never done this before, I've done a small pelmet with a hand staple gun. But having done a course on Create Academy, watch that, I think doing this size with a staple gun will be too much on my wrist, and I find I can't get the staples in very well, and I've ended up having to hammer them in. So we've got a air staple gun which goes on the compressor, and so I'll be actually attaching the new fabric when I'm in the garage. So I'm going to not do that today. I've taken most of the staples out, got a few bits of equipment. It was worth getting a staple extractor, and it has been incredibly good. I think I've got the knack. I've left some staples in because I'm not sure whether the whole wadding will come away as I take it all away. So I've left a few in so that I can take the remainder out when I'm in situ in the garage. And the fabric that was covering the back, because there's bits of wood that come down from the back of the headboard to attach to the bed, there are holes in the fabric on the backing where it screws in. I've unscrewed them to make it easier, but I decided rather than unstaple the whole of the back, because it's partly stapled where the supports are, I've stuck them down in place. I've stuck it down so I don't have to remove the whole thing, and then I should be able to reuse that, take it up and cover the new fabric that I've chosen. And with that, I thought I'd show you the fabric. So I haven't actually unwrapped it yet. I have checked it to make sure it's the right one, which indeed it is. Let's see if I can get this off. Pop that down there. And this is the fabric. It's just... Now, I ordered enough to be able to do seams, but I realised that I don't need to do that. It's not a pattern that particularly needs to be a particular way up, and therefore I can use it just as it is and have it go sort of lengthways across the headboard. Oops, a little bit of paper there. So let's show you the fabric. So this is the fabric. I'll come in closer. I think it's rather lovely. I have to admit it wasn't my first choice, but when I held it up in the bedroom, the sample piece I had, it's the first time I've seen it actually. When I held it up in the bedroom, it was, I think, the best option. It stood out, not too busy. I mean, it's busy, but the bedroom needed a lift. It's very neutral. Now, because the sort of paisley parts go off in different angles, I don't think it matters which way round it goes, and I will lay it out and decide exactly which bit I want where in the centre of the headboard. Then I'll cut the fabric to have plenty to go around the back, and then I might need to press it first as well, and then I'll be ready to go. I can see my battery is ready to go as well, and then I should have enough as well to cover a bolster pillow. So that would look nice as well, I think, just to tie it in. So I'm going to get on with that, and I'll show you the next stage with the bed head. Hello, well, I've decided to get on with the headboard. I've taken off the old fabric. I've laid out, no, you can't sit there, sweetheart. I've laid out the new, trying to make sure I get it straight, and that's a little bit nerve-wracking, if I'm honest, because although the pattern's quite abstract, there are clear lines, and I've been trying to line it all up. And what I'm thinking of doing, I have actually attached some of the fabric just at the base here. There's a bit of a panel that goes behind the mattress, so I've attached it in a few places just there, and then I'm going to attach it at the top. Now, to do this, I think I'm going to stand, stop it darling, I'm going to stand it on the chairs where Luna is, because she likes a chair. I'm going to see if we can get you on this other chair. Yeah, you are so sweet. So yes, that's what we're going to do. Now I've got the compressor outside, and I've got the hose from it running through the house. I decided that the garage is not secure, let's say, in as much that it's there's no proper floor in there, and to actually set up a table would be very difficult. And with the new fabric, it just, with oil in the garage, it just seemed like too precarious. So I'm going to do it in the dining room. So let's get moving. Now I'm going to move you, sweetheart. Let's get you down. All right, let's give you this chair, look. We'll move that here. You come on this chair. Come on this one. That's it. Good girl. That's it. So now this headboard, it's on particle board, and it's very heavy. And I've got a sort of a tablecloth on the table which has got a soft underlay, which I thought would perhaps be useful, and it has been for swinging this around, but this is quite heavy. So it's a bit of a struggle. I have moved the chandelier, you may have noticed. No, this is slipping now. All right, let's get it up here. Whew. This is one of the downsides of doing it yourself. Now, let's see how this goes. Right. Whew. Right, that's a rigmarole. Right, let's see, how straight does that look? It does look pretty straight, which is good. All right, let's have a quick look at how we're going. Need to check this. Well, I think we're okay. I think it's okay. So as I get to, I haven't done anything on the side, so I think I might put one in either side, and then start looking at. And maybe I need to do that first, actually, the bottom bit. I might need to do that first. This is not easy. So I think I will put one in to secure on either side, and then put it back on here because I have to attach. Oh, you can't see me. I'm so sorry. I'm thinking I'm going to attach one on either side, or a couple on either side. Then I'm going to put it back on the table, and I have this piece of card I need to put down underneath. So I haven't done the corners yet, so I need to do those, but I think I don't really know what I'm doing, let's be honest. But I'm sure it's going to be fine. So I will put those staples in the sides, and then let's start this side. You can't see me this end, but oh, I tell you what I haven't been doing. That's okay. Have I got any more up here? Yeah. I put some masking tape on to hold the sort of kapok, not kapok, but the wadding in place underneath, and I haven't removed that, so I need to remove that. And that one. Mustn't forget to do that. It's quite important. So we're okay this end. But actually I'll take it off now anyway. How far have I gone there? Yeah, I went quite a long way. I think I'll continue down this end a minute before I do the sides. Putting them in a slight angle is what they call a holding staple, I believe, and so I'm doing that on the sides just in case I need to readjust it. But right, and now I don't know that I'm going to show you the whole of the effort I made to take it off the table to put it on the chairs. It was a disaster. But it's heavier than it appears when people do this. Ooh. So just here, I've stapled it in various places along this edge, and then I have put some pins in, because then you fold it under. Let's get this out from under there. Oh, the pins come out. That's okay, that one's still in. So if I pinch that down, this piece of card goes in. This is the one I took off, and I want to reuse it. That sits just in there to give it a nice crisp edge, I would believe. So that one seems okay. This side has come out, so I need to just check I've got it folded. It's never this difficult when you watch it on YouTube, is it? It is when I'm doing it. Let's just see that looks. Well, clearly it's not going to be pattern matched. And that is pretty much how it looked with the last one, with a little bit of a pleat there. So I think that's going to be okay. All right. Okay, I am going to get on with this and I'll come back to you when I've done a bit more. Hello. Well, when I last spoke to you, I was struggling with moving the headboard, and eventually I did manage to get it in position. I then managed to attach the air stapler to the compressor tube. Everything was new, so I actually even struggled to fill the stapler up with the staples. I started to put them in the wrong way round, so I don't mean upside down, but anyway, all done. But I didn't film that. But yes, I want to talk about creativity. Here's my headboard in situ. I thought we'd film in the bedroom in front of the headboard. I've got the dogs in here, so they've joined me. Your creativity, when we go through menopause, there's some connections to benefits during menopause and also for aging. And it's really about supporting us. We can help reduce our stress with creative pursuits. And this could be anything you do with your hands. It could be artistic, visual arts. It could be dancing, music, and apparently even video gaming. And there was a study done that was reported in the Nature Communications publication, and they took over 1,000 people, some who had done sort of creative pursuits before, but basically they worked out the biological age of the brain. So I have a scale that gives me my sort of biological age on the scales rather than chronological. So it always says I'm 15 years younger physically than my actual age, but it doesn't go any more than 15 years. So I could be younger still, who knows. But they worked out a biological age of the brain. And they found that doing sort of creative activities, and they looked at music, dance, visual arts and video gaming, and they found that it could make their biological brain age between 5.2 to 6.4 years younger than their actual chronological age. Hello, boo-boo. I've got Molly here, I've got Lulu on the bed. So that in its own right, from an aging perspective, and for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sam. I should introduce myself. I'm a nutritional therapist, and my aim is to help women, particularly going through the perimenopause and menopause, into older age. And my aim is to help them get through it easily with simple to-do things, because women at this age are so busy. You don't need all the background detail often. So I'm not giving that. I'm trying to give just a few snippets. But being creative in its own right has a great benefit to the brain. And if I just turn my page, I've put some extra notes over here. So yes, part of when we do something creative, or we're learning, if say you learn a language, which is also a creative pursuit really, you can build new neural pathways in the brain. So it's always developing. They call it a plastic brain. It's always developing even as you get older. You can still learn, you can still develop and produce these new pathways. And they found that when we do some sort of creative stimulation, it can also stimulate the neural or neurons in the brain, and that can help trigger a neurotransmitter called dopamine. And if you're familiar with dopamine, you know it's that one that helps us feel reward and pleasure, and also it can help bring down stress. So when we learn something, if we're doing something creative, when we get it sort of into it in a big way, and you don't notice time go often, and I find that I really want to, like with the bedhead, once I started and I started to understand what I was doing, it probably took me 2 hours to do it. I'm sure somebody who's experienced it would take them far less, but for me it wasn't the amount of time, it was about the actual doing, the learning, and the sense of achievement I felt at the end. And it's quite a simple thing in many ways, but the sense of achievement was good, and I was on a bit of a high. And I did feel motivated, and that's something else that's been related to creative activities, that sense of motivation. And then depending on what you're doing, if you say you want to do music, sing, you could go and join a group and you can build communities around these sort of creative things you do. You could go to art classes and learn to paint, woodwork. I quite fancy that actually. So there's so many things one could do to support ourselves. And actually during menopause, there have been benefits shown. Some people, I actually read one woman was saying that we're more creative in the week after our period, if we're still menstruating. And she was very concerned about losing the ability for creativity after menopause. But it's not the case at all. Some women are even more stimulated to do things. But it's actually giving yourself the time, the permission to do it for you. And for me, my bedhead needed an update. I didn't like the stain on it. I couldn't get it out of the original. And so I've now got a new headboard, and I've had it on the bed for 2 nights actually. And I have to say, coming into bed and hopping into bed, and I'm feeling a little bit like the Queen of Sheba at the moment. I'm feeling rather happy. So I'm very pleased with that. I've got a footstool I've started, and I thought I'd film some of that to show you, and I've got a few other projects on the go. So I'd like to share them with you if you want to see them. But yeah, I think it's important that we include some sort of creativity. I mean, it might be you might want to cook something. Some people like to bake cakes. Now I don't recommend that, because cakes include a lot of sugar and white flour and generally are not healthy. So as a nutritional therapist, that's not on my agenda. But when it does come to cake baking, I like to do something that's healthier. But I wouldn't go into decorating them, because, well, I'd have to find a way to do something that's pretty healthy as opposed to sort of sugar icing. So, but it's whatever gives you joy. My mother learnt to paint when she was probably in her late 60s, early 70s. She said she hadn't got a creative bone in her body, and then she produced some lovely pieces of artwork. She copied art, but that doesn't matter. And one of my favourite pieces downstairs is a piece I copied from a herbal book. And yeah, that I framed it. It gives me, I did it years ago, and I've only just framed it in the past year actually. But I'm so delighted with it that I thought I might as well put it on show. So yes, keep in mind creativity is good for your brain. It's good to keep your brain young. It's good to lower your stress levels. You can make something for the home, for a gift for somebody. So there's a lot of benefits, I think, to being creative. And I would encourage you to think of doing something. Christmas is coming up. I might make another wreath at Christmas. Well, I'm definitely making wreaths at Christmas, but I might film it and show you. So that would be a lovely place to start, because that's fairly straightforward, and you can always take it apart and start again if you don't like what you've done. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me again this week. Sorry I didn't show too much of me making the bed head, but that might be good for you. And I hope to see you again, and I hope you join me again soon. So take care. Bye-bye. Luna just reminded me to say, please like and subscribe if you'd like to, and please share with somebody who may benefit. And from Luna and myself, bye-bye, see you soon. Thank you.